here's how I found my Venus power with True Sidereal Astrology. Before starting down this path, I was really struggling with how I saw myself because I had lost my identical twin sister to cancer, and my whole sense of self was wrapped up in that Gemini twin stuff because according to tropical astrology, we were born under the sign of Gemini. And let me be completely honest with you. I was exhausted from dealing with all the grief of the past few years and just trying to carry on. My go-to tools of tarot and Reiki just weren't cutting it. They weren't bringing me what I truly needed for my soul. So I knew I needed some kind of breakthrough or new vision of what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. And that's when the universe came up with a beautiful gift that is the kind that only comes from going through tough times. So instead of being constantly consumed with my grief, I stopped resisting my intuition and surrendered to life. And that is when the universe handed me True Sidereal Astrology. What do you see when you look in the mirror? What if the goddess of love, beauty, and creation were standing right beside you with her hand lovingly on your shoulder? Because once you understand where Venus was in the sky when you were born, you can see your whole best self beginning to emerge like a beautiful butterfly from a chrysalis of what was. Hello, my shiny friend. My name is Beth Hansen, and I'm a true sidereal astrologist and tarot reader and Reiki master. And I am here to help you learn how to weave the magic of these stars and planets with the power of Mother Earth and bring it into your daily life. So here's how I went from pretty tired to pretty powerful. But let's set the scene here. This planet, Venus, named after the goddess of love and beauty, also known as Aphrodite and Freya, and by so many other names. As an archetype, she's also associated with the Empress in the tarot, and you'll see a shield with that Venus symbol on it near her. And Venus is more than a pretty face because, as the Empress teaches us, she is the creator of all matter, of all things, all the physical world she gave birth to. She brings flow to abundance, and tools that bring value into your life are all gifts of Venus. And as a planet, her 8-year cycle around the sun and our relationship with that creates this beautiful 5-pointed, 5-lobed flower with those points creating a pentacle. And that is part of why the pentacle is associated with Venus and the morning star, because Venus is also known as the morning star, and another word for a morning star is Lucifer. So her wisdom and her energy has been forbidden by a lot of Western spiritual teachings. And what she brings to the table of spirituality, it's not just spirit, it's the mind, it is the body. And she helps you embody all that is and all that you can be. So that does mean money in the bank, but it also means your self-worth and what you find worthy of spiritual pursuits. Her beauty definitely attracts, and her passion brings unity. And when those come together, that spark is what is the force of creation I've been talking about. And while you may have heard some of this already from a tropical astrologer, I want to let you know that it is so important, and it was so important to me to find that Venus is in Aries in my 5th house on the cusp of Taurus. I found not only my fire, but my link to my ability to transform and become a powerful connector into Mother Earth from the fire of my passion, which is True Sky, aka True Sidereal Astrology. And I can help you get started on this path because being that type of Venus energy, I created something that I can send out to you over the interwebs. Click on the link below and you can unlock this new zodiac. And how Venus connects to you in your chart, check out and see what it looks like in your True Sidereal chart. And I've got a link for that down below as well. So click on that link real quick and run your chart, or at the end of this video, just take some notes along the way so you know what to look for. Because Venus can not only be a morning star, she can be an evening star, and you have to compare on your chart where that is happening for you. So when you compare where the planets are located next to each other, if Venus is before the sun as the planets rise, and it does it clockwise, those planets, Venus is in a constellation that precedes the constellation your sun is in, that means she's a morning star. If she is in a constellation that follows the constellation your sun was in, that means she's an evening star. In some cases, Venus might be in the same sign, in the same constellation as your sun is in. And depending on where it's at, it can be either a morning or evening star. So a morning star is known as Venus Lucifer. And people with that placement are said to lead with their feelings and express their emotions pretty openly and with less reservation. Can confirm because I am a morning star. So those who have a Venus that follows the sun, they're known as an evening star, and they could be a little bit more reserved in how they express their emotions and maybe considered a little bit more shielded. So that evening star, this is really about those human whether it's a morning star or an evening star, it does have to do with how we connect with others on a human scale. And that can go with those one-on-one passionate or friendship relationships, as well as bigger things if there is a connection, event, or placement with the outer planets. So how do you determine if you don't even have one of those stars that shows up in the sky, either right after sunset or right before sunrise? Now, if she is completely what's called conjunct, then she is either between the sun and the earth, or the sun is between the earth and Venus from our point of view. So there are 3 things that happen, and at those times we can't even see her. She is neither a morning star or an evening star. Well, that is just a matter of degrees from your sun placement. So there are 3 ways of looking at it. The first is called cazimi. That is when Venus is within about 1 degree of the sun, and that is considered cazimi. And this is basically the sun is amplifying and powering up everything Venus related. It is super empowering. You are literally getting that solar power energy into your Venus. The second way it shows up, other than being an evening or morning star, is called combust. And that's when it's within between 1 and 8 degrees from the sun. Those are times when she is not being seen, but she is not cazimi. So she's not being powered up with the energy of the sun, but she's also not being seen in her own right. This is that place between. It's a very liminal space. So when you're working with that in your birth chart, so with the combust placement, just think of that as being blinded or hidden or somehow limited or overlooked. So it might take a little bit more energy. This is Venus in a place where I wouldn't say she's shy. She's just not out in public at this time. But that only happens about 58 days of the year. And anything between that 8 degree to 15 degrees, well, that's considered under the beams. So whatever you're working with Venus, it might seem somehow delayed, or you might be scrambling in order to get people to take notice, whatever it is that you are putting forward as Venus energy in your life, whether that is manifesting on the physical realm or relationships. It does take a little bit more work and a little bit more communication. So wherever Venus is in your chart, you can learn to work with it. So the fourth thing we're going to just take a quick look at is the royal zodiac tour of the queen of her domain, Venus. And this has to do with how you work with the connections of relationships, of money, and of your self-image and self-worth. Because the ancients looked at the planets like they were wandering gods visiting each other's kingdoms, with each of the constellations being a different kingdom that they were visiting. So when you think about it, when Venus is in Taurus, well, that's her own kingdom. So everybody there is supposed to play by her rules, and she has a lot of power there. There are other places where she's called exalted, or there's actually areas where I have my Venus placement. It's considered a detriment. But if you think the super action-oriented god of war is not going to welcome the goddess of love and beauty into his realm and make the most of this opportunity, you are sadly mistaken. So some of those things I take with a grain of salt. But, you live and you learn and you try things out, right? And this is where creating some rituals around Venus come in handy. And we're going to go through all 5 elements so you know what to do no matter what your Venus placement is, because each of the zodiac signs is related to those magical, mystical, ancient ideas of elements. But before I go over those rituals, I want to let you know that there is a place where we all gather and look at the stars and share our wisdom, ask questions, and have fun doing it. And that is Zodiac Club 13. Every seeker begins under the same sky. The call of the stars whispering through the branches of night. You follow the light deeper into the forest of the unseen, and there a guide appears. A golden invitation, your entry to Zodiac Club 13, a secret celestial lounge, where the night hums with magic, candles flicker, stars shimmer, and your place is waiting. Welcome to the party, where mystics, dreamers, and star lovers gather to celebrate the real sky. Inside, visionaries study the cosmos, hands trace constellations as they truly are, and weave their stories through the cards of destiny. Here, wisdom flows like starlight, every spark a new awakening. You found your circle. Zodiac Club 13, the midnight lounge for seekers of the real sky, filled with 13 signs and timeless magic. Go ahead and click on that link below and join our club, and you will find lots of other star seeds out there with Venuses of all kinds. Okay, now on to the fifth sacred thing that we're talking about for that fifth petal, that fifth point of the pentacle. That is Venus, and that is integrating this into a ritual so you can energetically connect with Venus. This is something I have done for years to connect to Goddess, and it was through understanding that Goddess in my chart that broke me out of my shell. So you can connect through Venus, through the element of the constellation she is in. And I'll be putting up those sigils right here. So for Earth, it's great to do some gardening or work on your, maybe gardening in the house if it's winter in Minnesota like it is here, doing that sort of thing, or working with crystals, hiking, tree hugging, arts and crafts of any kind. If you do them with a sacred intention and connect to that goddess, she is going to show up more powerfully in your life. Believe me, I know, because I made this, and this is something that my sister's legacy gave me, was wire wrapping stones, because that was her art form, and still is. So I carry on some of that twin energy that way. And for air, breath work, chanting, singing, music of any kind are wonderful ways of connecting with air. Even flying a kite. It doesn't have to be a ritual. It can just be something you do and say, hey, I'm going to connect to that air energy through flying a kite. And to do that, you just put your intention and your heart into that place of whichever air sign you come from, and you bring it down into the earth that way, and into your body and into your mind and into your spirit. So for water, I love a good ritual bath. I don't know about you, but you can also add salt into that bath because that brings in Venus's own element of earth. And also beauty routines, makeup, washing your face, anything water related, that showers, swimming, or just staying hydrated. These are all ways you can intentionally connect with Venus. When you take that sip of water, ask Venus to bless you. And the other way you can work is with candles, the fire part of things. Candles, bonfires, incense. Incense also works for air. And fire, talk about cooking on your stove, not the microwave, because it's not like real fire. At least it's got to have some sort of heating element to really connect energetically with the fire. But as long as something's heating up and transforming and transmuting. So whatever you do, it can be a daily routine. It can be a ritual. It can be a full-on retreat into nature. But acknowledging and connecting with that Venus energy in your life and bringing it into being through intention, that's the real power of Venus. That's the real power of loving yourself and therefore loving others, being that beautiful human soul that you are meant to be, to attract the people, places, and things that you need and want in your life. If there has been one thing that I have truly learned by embracing Venus in her true sidereal placement in my chart, it is this: that when I was trying to chase abundance, beauty, love, relationships, and depth of experience using traditional astrology, it just didn't work. And if you are doing that, you're running in the wrong direction when you chase those things. By living aligned to Venus as a powerful goddess amongst the stars, helped me find my own self-worth and personal creative power. The key to my transformation can be found in the Hermetic principle: as above, so also below. as within, so also without. And back to my comment question of the day. How do you define goddess power in your life? Download my True Sidereal starter guide in the link below, or join us in Zodiac Club 13 to share your insight, your wisdom, your abundance and beauty. Now that you know how to find your own goddess power through Venus in your chart, you might be wondering, how does Virgo really work in True Sidereal Astrology, that other goddess? Then this video right here is the one you should watch next, because when you combine what you just learned with what's in this video, it is way more powerful. And I will see you in the next video. Blessed be, namaste, and all that jazz.